Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a turn-based RPG fan like me, the Switch has become an absolute goldmine. Today, we're counting down the top 15 turn-based RPGs you need to play on Switch. We've got remakes, hidden gems, and absolute masterpieces on this list. Some of these flew under the radar, others are instant classics. Let's jump right in. Live Alive is one of the most unique RPGs you'll ever play, and it's wild that it took 30 years to get officially localized. The game splits into 7 different scenarios across different time periods: prehistoric times, feudal Japan, the Wild West, modern day, and even the distant future. Each chapter follows a completely different protagonist with its own story, gameplay style, and battle mechanics. The combat uses a grid-based system where positioning actually matters. You're constantly thinking about range, movement, and timing. What's incredible is how each scenario feels distinct. One moment you're a caveman grunting through a love story with no dialogue. The next you're a shinobi infiltrating a castle with stealth mechanics. The HD 2D remake makes everything pop with gorgeous pixel art layered over 3D environments. All these stories eventually converge in a final chapter that ties everything together in ways you won't see coming. Trails in the Sky is where the legendary Trails series begins, and it's finally portable on Switch after years of being stuck on other platforms. You follow Estelle and Joshua, 2 young bracers, basically adventurers for hire, as they travel across the nation of Liberl, taking on missions and slowly uncovering a conspiracy that threatens the entire kingdom. The story starts deceptively lighthearted, with fetch quests and monster hunts, but it builds into this intricate political thriller with incredible character development. Combat uses the AT bar system, where turn order is displayed, letting you plan around enemy moves, and there's an orbment system for magic that's basically fantasy programming. You slot elemental quartz into circuits to unlock spells and stat boosts. The world building is insane. Every NPC has unique dialogue that changes as the story progresses, making towns feel genuinely alive. Triangle Strategy is a tactical RPG that takes the political intrigue of Game of Thrones and throws it into a fantasy war story with branching paths. You play as Serenoa, a young lord caught between 3 nations on the brink of war over salt and iron resources, and your decisions genuinely shape how the story unfolds. The game uses a conviction system where your choices build up values, utility, morality, or liberty, that unlock different story routes and characters. Before major decisions, you hold a vote with your companions using the scales of conviction, and you have to actually persuade them to your side using gathered information. The tactical battles play out on elevated grid maps, where height advantages matter. You're constantly thinking about flanking, environmental hazards, and choke points. Each unit has a class with unique abilities, and positioning is everything. Attack from behind for bonus damage, push enemies off cliffs, or freeze water to create new pathways. Chained Echoes is a love letter to 90s RPGs, made by essentially one person, and it rivals games made by entire studios. The story follows a group of unlikely heroes trying to stop a war between mechs and magic kingdoms, dealing with themes of trauma, revenge, and breaking cycles of violence. Combat is turn-based, but uses an overdrive system, a gauge that shifts between underdrive, normal, and overdrive states based on your actions. You want to stay in the green overdrive zone for bonuses, but certain skills push you into overheat, forcing strategic ability management. There's no random encounters, all enemies are visible on the map, and there's no level grinding because you don't gain experience. Instead, you upgrade skills and stats through boss fights and story progression. The game constantly introduces new mechanics, like sky armor mech battles, tactical combat sections, and even a system where you upgrade your airship. Dragon Quest III is a classic that defined the genre back in 1988, and this HD 2D remake proves why it still holds up today. You create your own hero and build a party of adventurers from different classes: warrior, mage, priest, thief, and more, then set off to defeat the archfiend Baramos and save the world. The job system lets you customize your party completely, and midway through you unlock the ability to change classes at Dharma Temple, letting you mix and match skills for powerful hybrid builds. Combat is straightforward turn-based, with a focus on strategy through party composition and resource management. MP is precious, and knowing when to use items versus spells is crucial. The world is massive for a retro RPG, with towns, dungeons, and secrets spread across multiple continents that you explore by ship and eventually other means. The HD 2D treatment makes everything gorgeous. Pixel characters moving through beautifully rendered 3D environments with dynamic lighting. Octopath Traveler 0 brings the series' classic HD 2D style back with a new adventure that blends strategic combat, exploration, and a personal story of rebuilding. The journey begins after the protagonist's hometown is destroyed, setting the stage for a quest across the continent to uncover the truth behind the tragedy while slowly restoring what was lost. Battles follow the familiar turn-based system built around break and boost mechanics, where discovering enemy weaknesses and timing powerful attacks becomes the key to victory. A major twist is the expanded 8-character battle party, allowing players to switch between frontline and backline fighters during combat, adding a new layer of strategy to every encounter. Along the way, more than 30 companions can join the adventure, each offering unique abilities and roles. Outside battle, players rebuild their town piece by piece, turning it into a thriving hub that reflects the progress of the journey.
Works like a charm! Let me! Now!
Pokémon Legends Arceus completely reinvents the Pokémon formula, ditching gyms and linear routes for an open-zone action RPG structure set in ancient Sinnoh. You're a time-displaced trainer, tasked with creating the region's first Pokédex by exploring vast wilderness areas filled with wild Pokémon that actually behave like creatures. Some flee, others attack on sight, and you can sneak through grass to catch them without battling. Combat still uses turn-based mechanics, but adds the Strong style and Agile style system. Strong hits harder, but delays your next turn. Agile moves faster, but deals less damage. And turn order constantly shifts based on speed stats and style choices. You dodge roll in real time when wild Pokémon attack you directly, adding an action element that's never been in mainline games. The crafting system has you gathering materials to make Pokeballs, potions, and other items from resources in the wild. The Lunar Remastered collection brings back 2 PS1 classics, Silver Star Story and Eternal Blue, fully remastered for modern audiences. Silver Star Story follows Alex, a young adventurer who idolizes the legendary Dragon Master Dyne and sets off to become a hero himself, only to get caught up in a plot involving the magical girl Luna and an ancient evil. The story is pure classic JRPG, earnest, heartfelt, with a focus on friendship and coming-of-age themes. Combat is turn-based with range mechanics where positioning on the battlefield matters. Melee fighters need to close distance while mages hang back. Magic points are limited, so you're constantly balancing spell usage versus physical attacks and items. The game has animated cutscenes that were groundbreaking back in the day, now cleaned up and remastered, adding personality to key story moments. Character development is the real strength. The party banter and relationships feel genuine with tons of dialogue. Tactics Ogre Reborn is a tactical RPG masterpiece about war, moral choices, and living with consequences, set in the war-torn Valerian Isles. You play as Denim, a young man whose choices during a brutal civil war determine the fate of entire factions and which story route you experience. The narrative doesn't pull punches. You'll make decisions that result in massacres, betrayals, and the deaths of characters you care about, with branching paths that lead to radically different scenarios. Combat takes place on isometric grid battlefields with elevation, terrain types, and facing direction, all affecting damage and accuracy. The class system is deep, with over 50 classes from basic knights and archers to dragoons, necromancers, and beast tamers, each with unique skill sets. You manage unit stats, equipment, and skills individually, and permadeath is optional, but adds weight to battles. The chariot system lets you rewind turns, which sounds like it'd make things easy, but battles are genuinely tough even with it. Octopath Traveler 2 takes everything the first game did and elevates it. Better stories, improved party interactions, and refined combat systems. Again, you choose from 8 travelers, but this time they're in the world of Celestia, split between eastern and western continents with distinct cultures. The stories are darker and more interconnected, dealing with themes like revenge, corruption, faith, and identity, with more mature narratives. Each character still has path actions, but now there are day and night versions. The merchant can buy info during the day or hire mercenaries at night, giving you more tools for exploration. Combat refines the boost and break system with latent powers, unique abilities that charge during battle and can turn the tide, like extra turns or massive damage spikes. The job system returns with new advanced classes and more creative combinations. Side stories called Crossed Paths have characters teaming up for shared quests, addressing the lack of party chemistry from the first game.
Here I come.
Unicorn Overlord is Vanillaware's tactical RPG that combines real-time strategy with automated unit battles, and it's one of the most gorgeous games on the Switch. You play as Elaine, an exiled prince who's assembling an army to reclaim his kingdom from a tyrannical empire that conquered it years ago. The game plays out on a large overworld map where you move multiple squads in real time, positioning them strategically before engaging enemies. When battles start, they're automated based on formations and tactics you set up beforehand. You assign up to 6 units per squad, arrange them in front and back rows, and program their AI behavior with condition-based commands. Before combat, you're tweaking who attacks first, when healers use abilities, if tanks should taunt or defend, creating this puzzle of optimal unit synergy. There are over 60 recruitable characters across different classes like knights, archers, mages, griffin riders, and even werewolves, each with unique skills and promotion paths.
Enjoy this.
How's this? Victory is ours!
Persona 5 Royal delivers a stylish, turn-based RPG experience that blends strategic combat with a deep story about rebellion and self-discovery. The adventure follows a high school student who gains the power to enter the mysterious metaverse, a distorted world shaped by the twisted desires of corrupt individuals. Together with a group known as the Phantom Thieves, players explore elaborate palaces filled with puzzles, enemies, and hidden paths, while working to change the hearts of powerful figures. Combat revolves around summoning personas, supernatural manifestations that unleash elemental attacks, buffs, and special abilities. Discovering enemy weaknesses becomes the key to victory, allowing players to knock foes down, chain extra turns, and unleash coordinated team attacks. Outside the dungeons, life continues in Tokyo through a calendar system, where every day matters. Building friendships, strengthening confidant bonds, and improving personal skills unlock new abilities that directly impact combat and exploration.
Immune to curse.
Fire Emblem Three Houses blends tactical, turn-based combat with deep character storytelling in a fantasy world shaped by war and political tension. Players step into the role of Byleth, a mercenary who becomes a professor at Garrig Mach Monastery, where 3 rival student houses train the future leaders of the continent. Choosing a house determines which characters join your journey and how the story unfolds. Battles take place on grid-based maps, where positioning, terrain, and weapon matchups play a crucial role in every decision. Units can learn specialized classes, powerful combat arts, and command battalions that unleash strategic gambits to control the battlefield. Outside combat, life at the monastery adds another layer of depth as you train students, strengthen relationships, and guide their growth into skilled warriors. These bonds directly affect their performance in battle, making every lesson and conversation meaningful. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles delivers a deep, tactical RPG experience set in the war-torn kingdom of Ivalice, where political intrigue and shifting alliances drive a powerful story. The adventure follows Ramza Beulf, a young noble caught in the middle of a brutal conflict that slowly reveals a much larger conspiracy behind the struggle for power. Battles unfold on isometric grid maps, where positioning, terrain height, and careful planning are just as important as raw strength. Every move matters, as units take turns casting spells, striking enemies, or supporting allies while adapting to the battlefield. The game's iconic job system gives players incredible freedom, allowing characters to train in a wide range of classes such as knights, mages, and dragoons, each unlocking new abilities and tactical possibilities. Skills learned from different jobs can be combined to create flexible strategies and unique team builds.
You're done for. I'm sorry.
Dragon Quest I and II HD 2D Remake brings two classic JRPG adventures back with a beautiful HD 2D presentation while preserving the traditional turn-based gameplay that defined the series. Set in the legendary world tied to the hero Erdrick, the journey begins with a lone warrior rising to confront the Dragon Lord, before expanding into a larger quest where royal descendants unite to face a growing dark threat. Exploration plays a central role as players travel through towns, castles, and dangerous dungeons, while gathering equipment, learning powerful spells, and uncovering secrets across the land. Battles follow the familiar command-based system, where strategy comes from choosing the right attacks, magic, and items to overcome different monsters. Modern improvements make combat smoother, with clearer menus, adjustable battle speed, and helpful indicators that encourage smarter tactics. The HD 2D visual style blends detailed pixel characters with dynamic lighting and rich environments, creating a nostalgic atmosphere that still feels modern. There's my top 15 turn-based RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. From tactical warfare to world-saving adventures, these games show exactly why this genre continues to thrive. Hit that like button and subscribe for more RPG breakdowns, hidden gems, and gaming deep dives. Catch you in the next one.